Friday prayer at Tehran's central mosque is more than a religious ritual. This is where Iran's Islamic leadership speaks its mind and sets out the hardline position on national issues. Meanwhile, millions of young, educated Iranians have simply moved on, sidestepping the hardliners and their censorship. Two Irans and two visions, locked in an epic struggle to determine the country's future.
If there is one planet and one nation on this planet that the free world cannot trust under any circumstances, it just might be Iran. But as we keep a watchful eye on their plans for a world they would dominate, we just might have to thank them for their help against another band of terrorist killers. Let's welcome to MidPoint. He spent a good part of his career in the U.S. Navy Nuclear Submarine Service, has been heavily involved in Middle Eastern economic development and human rights, and is now author of the new book, Fault Lines, The Layman's Guide to Understanding America's Role in the Ever-Changing Middle East. Don Liebich joins us. Don, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Don, I'm going to take it right from the title of your book, America's Role in the New Middle East, the Ever-Changing Middle East. Honestly, from what Americans have seen in the last couple of decades, there is no role for America in the Middle East because many of the governments there don't want us. So what then is the real answer?
Well, I think that's right, that with the changes that have gone on in the Middle East over the past few years, and with the U.S. policy not being a really effective instrument in projecting American interests there, that what's happening now is largely in the hands of the folks in the Middle East. What happens there is going to have a Made in the Middle East label and not a Made in America label.
Well, if you look at this and what you have said in your book, and I want to quote here, looking back on their ancient Persian history, Iranians strongly support their rightful position as a regional power. Well, if they have this and it is so well ingrained over generations, is there any reason for anybody here to logically believe that come the nuclear negotiations we're undergoing right now, that Iran would change their mind one single bit until the current leadership dies off and maybe 2 or 3 generations after that?
Yeah, well, I think that's right, that not only they are very proud of their Persian history, they tend to see Iran as the center of the world. That may be a bit of a stretch, but that's the way they see it. And they believe that they have a right to nuclear energy, and as a signature of the Non-Proliferation Treaty, they have a right to have a complete nuclear cycle.
But let me ask this with regard to educated Iranians here that we heard in the segment piece coming in here, care?
Well, they do care. The Iranians, in my experience, having been there and talked to them, are very politically engaged and know exactly what's going on, both in Iran and in the U.S. And in Iran, like in the United States, generally made up of the younger, urbanized, connected population, and what they call the principalists, which are the more conservative side, and they are battling today for what kind of Iran they want to see.
But I've only got about a minute left here, so let me ask this. What's it going to take for that younger generation then to break through and actually get this old guard, these radicals, to leave or to overtake them or to overthrow them? What's it going to take?
It is going to take nothing from us. As I was told when I was in Iran, that we don't need your help. And so they will gradually change. I think the election of President Rouhani is an indication of that. And so I don't think that we have any role in regime change in Iran. Regime change will come from within gradually over time.
Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time with the nuclear Iran coming up. The book again is Fault Lines, The Layman's Guide to Understanding America's Role in the Ever-Changing Middle East. We want to thank Don Liebich for his comments. Don, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Ed. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Breaking back with the interesting comparison of Barack Obama and Abraham Lincoln. Again, and at 51 minutes after the hour, the positives we may one day take from Ferguson when history looks back on this time. That and so much more coming up right here on MidPoint, where every day we question everything.